Better me.
Better me.
Better me.
Better me.
It's better me. Hopefully. Okay, no pressure. You've come back for a third episode of Better Me, hopefully. And I reckon this one's going to be pretty fun. I know the first two, we were quite serious, getting in there about Ozempic, getting in there about going sober. This episode, we're going to be talking about whether smut is the new porn. This episode, two of my favourite people in the world, Ash and Ange, join me. They're from my fairy porn book club, really. And we're going to be talking about whether or not fairy smut is the new porn.
Sometimes I get through like 3 a week. I'm like, God damn, and I just want to get all the foreplay I goddamn can.
And because I'm a professional podcast, I got an expert opinion from Somatic Sexologist Morgan Penn.
Harmless little book with this juicy story and it's great.
Then I got my husband Bryce to have a read of some of my fairy porn, which he hadn't read before.
Goodness me. Goodness me.
Better Me, hopefully, with Sharyn Casey.
Let's get down and dirty, everybody. Please welcome Ash and Ange. Hello.
Thanks for having us. Great to be here. Can't wait.
Do you know what is really funny is that these two are like two of my besties and they're trying to be so serious right now, but I don't know how long it's going to last.
I just get to move my face so, in case you don't hear me.
It's kind of not lost on me the fact that we're doing this episode and it's all about, you know, like smut, and our microphones are shaped like massive dicks.
Yeah, big black ones.
Yeah. Wow. Oh my God. Oh my God. And that is how the rest of this episode is going to go. So basically, I wanted to talk to you guys about it because you got me onto Iron Flame, Fourth Wing, and then we got deep into the Akatar series as well. Pun intended. And basically, we've all started just talking non-stop about how horny we are for fairies and dragon riders and all this stuff. Do you guys prefer smut over porn? Because there seems to be this big revolution where women are like, yay, I no longer have to watch like some girl getting absolutely pounded to shreds, and now I can have this kind of build up and reading about it. How do you guys feel about it?
Yeah, so I suppose for me, I've never been a huge porn person. Like, there's definitely been times where I've been like getting into a little bit of porn because we've even talked about it.
Yeah.
But I feel like I've always been a reader, love my Colleen Hooves, love my Jodie Peacock, and I think having this new fairy porn, as Ash and I like to refer to it, is really ticking 2 boxes for me, you know, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, pun intended. Now, we all had to stop at Fourth Wing when we got to chapter 27.
Oh, my Lord.
Oh, my
Don't
Lord.
even bloody get me
I
started.
had to have a 5-minute break.
Oh, my yes, God. And we know what that break included.
My SP2. And it was fantastic.
I feel like, just to go off the back of your thing, Ange, I totally agree. I think that I have never really been a big porn fan, and a lot of it just gets straight into it. And I think the build-up of a book is far sexier, and they don't even need to be doing anything.
Yeah.
It's just like the relationship between the two characters, and then when it finally happens, it's like such a emotional. It's more of an emotional kind of connection to the characters rather than just watching something that just has no build-up.
Get straight into it.
Yeah, rather it's like, here's your pizza, ma'am, and she's like, you look like a hot pizza boy. Let's bone. And then it's the sexual tension and like the build-up and all that sort of stuff, eh?
Yes.
Do you think that that's because the way that women look at sex, it's more of an emotional, like if you're being, you know, flirty with me, if you're being affectionate towards me, I'm more likely going to want to have sex with you, whereas guys are just like, is that a woman?
Yes.
Let's go.
Yes.
Well, I hope my husband's listening to this because, yes, definitely, you know, women aren't always just going to be ready to have sex. You know, the man can be turned on in fucking like a second.
Yeah.
Whereas, and I think that's kind of like the almost like premise of this book is to like build that suspense, and it really is drawn to me specifically, and I think women, because that's what we actually do prefer in our sex lives.
It's like foreplay.
Yes,
it's like
it's
a build up to
100%.
foreplay, and it kind of like when you're reading at night and you are reading this stuff, then you can kind of roll over and get straight into it. You've had your foreplay.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like best of both worlds.
Oh my God, you've nailed it.
I've nailed it.
All right, this is probably a good time to get Morgan, the amazing sexologist's expert opinion on how this is definitely way more tailored for women.
I think visual porn never really hit the spot for women because it was always designed for men. There is some amazing ethical porn that is targeted for women now, but it never really did the job. And what I like about reading the SMUT is that it stimulates the mind. It brings things top of mind, and we also get to bring in our imagination to make it what is sexy to us.
One of the other things I think a lot of us have noticed about these books, which is missing in a lot of porn, is consent.
I do agree with the consent stuff. I think that is, like, I've read some books that blatantly ask for consent, but I think it also is the storyline as well, because kind of all the way through building up these characters for relationships, you're kind of already at the consent space where you don't need to blatantly ask for consent because sometimes that's not hot. You know, sometimes it's just like the build up and then we're already there in our relationship and it's just like, take me against a wall from behind. That's what I need.
Let's go back to Morgan, because I know that consent is something that she thinks can be really sexy, and to be honest, she ain't the only one.
That is the thing. If you can make consent sexy, you are winning because you're normalising it, you know? And we do not see consent in visual porn. We just don't. And, like, I don't want to rag on visual porn. Like, it's got a place, absolutely. But the downside to porn that we're seeing affecting the world is so much more detrimental than picking up a book that's not showing us, like, cut off like labia, that's not showing us, you know, unrealistic cock sizes, you know, things like that. It's just like, it's so much more subtle.
So I thought at about this time, it was the right time to get my husband Bryce to read exactly what it is that has got me to this point. He's never read any of the books. He knows they're smutty, but not quite how much. And the scene he's reading is quite smutty.
It reminds me of us on holiday.
And just so you know, I'll be eating an ice cream and doing a face mask after this. That doesn't involve you.
Goodness me. Where are you reading this?
Everywhere. Sometimes in the car park outside Pilates.
You'd fall off the machine. Goodness me. He spilled himself. Goodness me. She weathered it. Good stuff. Good on her.
How do you feel now that you know what we're actually reading? What are your thoughts?
Good stuff. Let everybody learn from this. Let everybody be encouraged to read this and take it with them into their own real life and relationships. Everyone wants home time activities from this book.
Would you like to read the series now that you've read that one?
No.
Bryce, just for a visual, just wiped his mouth.
Yeah, that's because I had Indian food.
All right, Bryce, thanks for that.
Why I'm interested. I don't know if your podcast pertains to women, but why do women enjoy reading that more than guys will just watch that?
Because it's the build-up. There's all the sexual tension that it got to get to that point, and then they do it, and also all the consent and the care about the woman. It's not just, hi, let me ram your pussy.
That's not what I watch.
I don't want to know.
What? Get out of here. Huh?
You stood up quicker than I thought you would. This is actually going to be quite fun. We are going to play Fact and Myth about eyes with Ryan O'Connor, who is an optometrist at Specsavers. We're going to find out what's true and what's a myth, and I really need to ask you a couple of questions. So, Ryan, first one. Is it true that if your baby is like super congested, that snot can come out of their eyes? Because I swear this has happened to my children.
It does look like that, but it is not snot from their nose.
Oh.
But their eyes can be very watery and gunky. So the best thing you can do for them is keep everything clean. I know it doesn't look very nice in the poor wee souls. You're like, oh, what's going on? That looks so gunky. But yeah, just keep it clean and it will be okay. The tears are there to wash away any bad bugs, so that helps to prevent any infections.
Okay, apologies to any of my friends I said that to, because I thought that was a real thing. Okay, next fact or myth for Ryan. Do blue light glasses actually work, or is it an Instagram scam?
Blue light glasses, unfortunately, there's no scientific proof that they prevent any eye disease or that they prevent eye strain. And saying that, there's no harm in wearing blue light glasses, and lots of people do prefer to wear the blue light glasses. It helps to bring down the brightness of the light from our screens, and we're all guilty of looking at a computer screen too late in the day. So, yeah, there's no harm in wearing your blue light glasses if they make you feel better.
I may or may not, depending on what your answer is, play this to my 6-year-old, but do carrots actually help you see in the dark?
So the carrots, not specifically, don't help you see in the dark, but they do contain carotene, vitamin A, and that helps the retina to signal to your brain that when you're trying to see. So they may help with low-level light, but things like carrots, fish, omega-3 acids, zinc, your fruits and vegetables, your oily fish, they help to keep your eyes healthy and help the eyes to signal. So in low light, they may give you a little bit of a benefit.
Oh, amazing. Can contact lenses get lost behind your eye? I mean, I've definitely, when I used to wear contacts, I've had one stuck to the inside of my eyelid, and getting that out is you've really got to finger it out. But can it get lost behind your eye?
I don't know if you want to hear this fact, Sharyn, but the record for contact lenses in the eye used to be 21. Last year it got broken up to 26 in this poor lady. They were just sitting there under the eyelid. So, no, there's a continuous layer from the front of your eyelid round to the clear part of your eye that, yeah, if the lens is still there, it'll stay sitting in there. And this person had 26 of them in there. Please don't do that.
Oh, my gosh. Okay, people, set a reminder. Make sure you take out your contact lenses. That was a very fun game of Fact or Myth with Ryan O'Connor from Specsavers. We'll catch you again soon, Ryan. Obviously, he was speechless, but also kind of a fan. One thing I did want to check in, though, with Ash and Ange is, because we all have kids, is what their feelings are on younger people reading these books, because most of the time they're in the young adult section, and whether they would rather that this is what their kids were consuming instead of porn when they got older, because around that similar age they're going to be exposed to both.
Actually, I don't know if I've told you about this before, but we have a really good family friend down in Taupo, and she has read every single book I have read, and she is 16.
Wow.
And I said to her mum, I was like, have you read these books? And she was like, no. I was like, maybe just take a second. But when you point it out like that, like it's this or potentially her looking at porn.
Yeah.
I don't think she'd necessarily be going down the road. I think she genuinely just really enjoys reading.
Yeah.
And these are really hot right now, like all over TikTok and everything. So, but I thought that was really interesting. I could not have imagined myself at 16 reading a book like that.
No, I was just excited if they were kissing.
Yes.
I read Outlander at 16, and it definitely was. It was just
God.
It was so great. But I think also it would be great for boys, like teenage boys, to read these books. I think potentially it's like setting a girl up for disappointment, but for a boy, it's kind of like, for a boy, it kind of gives, a really kind of clear view of what a proper relationship is, and potentially some tricks.
Yeah. Because it is amazing. Like, you read these books and they're like, not only when they're like hooking up and stuff, the male characters in these books are so supportive of the women, and like letting the women be strong and letting them be, don't tell her what to do, she can do what she wants. Like, and I love that. 'Cause I'm like, oh, please get these traits into my children.
Yes.
Like, I love that. So obviously we come at this from a parenting lens, but as a professional, what does Morgan think about how young people might learn from these books?
And I was reading books that had very minimal sexy bits, but god dang, that'd get me going, and that's all I needed, And so my neural pathway to arousal and attraction was very simple. People that make pathways from when they're young watching porn, then they expect that in real life, and when that doesn't happen, when you're connecting with somebody in the flesh, it's confusing and can quite often then bring out performance anxiety, erectile difficulties, body insecurities. A harmless little book with a juicy story, and it's great.
While we were talking, I suddenly remembered, oh my God, Mum, I'm so sorry about this, but I remembered the Mills and Boons books, and they were literally on the bookshelf outside of my bedroom. I had no idea that this was the secret that our mums have known all along. And I'm sorry, Mum, but you're a horny bush.
I feel like social media wasn't around back then. had social media been around, maybe they'd be like bloody group, Mills and Boone group chats. You know, they'll be like our book chat that we've got going on with there's like 25 girls in there where we like to talk about how hot races from Akatar. But yeah, I imagine they would probably be talking about it. Maybe they did do the traditional book clubs, like, you know, the actual book clubs more back then. So now we know what they were actually talking about.
I know. That's the thing that's really like making me like. I remember my mum sitting there with a strong black coffee and a slice of cake, reading her Mills and Boone, and I'm like, oh my god, my dad must have got it when he got home.
Must have got it. Oh god.
Oh my god, I've just suddenly realised that's my parents I'm talking about, and whilst I am from South Canterbury, it's probably a step too far. We have got some of Ash and Ange's really good recommendations in a second, but I wanted to get a sense from some of my good mates around the office on where people are with porn versus books these days. Is smut the new porn? Watch porn, read porn. Watch it. Oh, that was unexpected.
Definitely watch it.
Both don't.
Definitely watch porn. I can't read.
Don't watch porn and I don't read, but if I was going to, I would read. No, use Kindle. Save the planet.
I love porn.
Definitely watch.
Oh, read smart. Nothing gets me wetter.
Okay, I'll go find a tarp. Watch porn, read porn.
I'll go watch.
Definitely read. You can do it anywhere.
Neither.
Liar, considering your wife's on this episode. Not all that surprising, to be honest. The boys, they prefer a pizza delivery with a terrible storyline, and then bing, bang, boom, we're all blooming on there. And then the gals are all about the smutty books. So on that, what do Ash and Ange recommend if you're wanting to dip your toe into the fairy smut world?
Ash, to be honest, got me into Akatar, Ash and our friend Sarah. And I think you initially actually got me into Iron Flame and what was the one before Iron
Fourth
Flame?
Wing.
Fourth Wing and then Iron Flame, and then that Fourth Wing was probably the door to the fantasy realm for me. I dabbled, obviously, Harry Potter's.
You're a wizard, Harry.
I don't know what.
Bit different.
Yeah,
Harry Potter is not smut. If
from a fantasy perspective.
Yeah, but I know, but
sorry.
don't make the comparison because people are going to think you're sitting at home like rubbing one out to Ron Weasley or like having a three-way with Fred and George.
I would go there with Harry Potter. He's
Really?
He's looking pretty good right now.
Oh.
But sorry, fantasy. So people kind of get scared about that fantasy term because they're like very much keen to read your Colleen Hoover, like it feels a little bit more real. And then when you get into fantasy, you know, there's a little bit of a stigma around fantasy. And I think Fourth Wing was a really good place to start in terms of opening that door for me. And I didn't realize what I was getting myself into, to be honest.
Really?
But honestly, I cannot stop. Like I'm, as like you did, I'm about to finish the 5th book of Akatar, the final in the series, and I'm gonna immediately get onto Glass of Throne.
Throne of Glass.
Throne of Glass.
Oh, is that it? Yeah, Throne of Glass.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm reading Throne of Glass at the moment, and everyone prepared me that it was not going to be good, and I am so invested.
Oh, you are? Okay,
Yeah,
good.
I love
because
it.
I'm like, I can't actually get enough now, and I've never been into fantasy until I started Fourth Wing.
Me too. So you reckon, because I would agree with that, start with Sarah J. Haas,
Yeah.
Fourth Wing, go to Iron Flame, and when you finish that, go to A
Akatar.
Court of Thorn and Roses
Oh, my
and
Lord.
follow the Akatar series.
Yeah.
Well, have you got any other extra ones you'd whack in there, Ash?
Yeah, so for fantasy, I reckon those are right. Definitely, Akatar should be first, I think.
Yeah.
But then, anything Sarah J. Maas is good. But then there's also another one. I think it's like Jennifer Athrome or something like that. It's called Of Blood and Ash, or of Ash and
I
Blood.
heard that's
come
good.
up.
It's very, very good, and probably more kind of the next step, like an adult kind of fantasy, where there's lots happening, and there's maybe a better reading experience for people that are actually into literature and want to have a well kind of
well
thought out
written,
book,
yeah.
well written book. That's probably the next step for you guys.
Okay, well, I'm going to put that on my... What do you put it in? Yeah.
Goodreads. Goodreads.
Oh, I've got to put that on my Goodreads.
We're going to put all of these in our show notes below as well, so you can check out Ash and Ange's smut recommendations. But thank you so much for joining me, A, because it was great I got to see you, and B, because honestly, there was no greater people to speak to than the authors themselves. So it was you guys.
Yay.
It was so much fun. I actually could talk about this for like so much longer, but I
Me
think
too.
we've got meetings.
I know. We've all got we have to get back to our real lives and away from our fairies. But quickly, have either of you Googled to try and find some fairy wings for your husbands?
Oh my God, no! But I always go on Pinterest and look at the AI generated
yes.
images
Oh my
of
God,
just to see if what I have in my head is what everyone else has in their head, and it really helps.
This episode was so much fun. Do you remember primary school and people would say, the best ab workout you can get is laughter? It's like doing 100 sit-ups. That's how I felt at the end of recording this episode because I'd laughed so much. But just to report back, because obviously we're a wellness podcast, I don't know how true the laughing is the best ab workout theory is because still do not have a six-pack. So we'll see. Also struggled to get out of my car. Core strength, not great. But to answer the question of this episode, is smut the new porn? I would say heck yeah, it is. And if you haven't got a bookstore near you, then I reckon get online. There's a good one called Bookity Book Books. That's my favourite bookstore name ever. You can get the books on there. Anywhere. Go and look them up. You've heard all about them. I'm going to put some in the show notes below. And you're welcome. Okay, it's going to change your life. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll catch you next week because on next week's episode, we're going to be talking about energy with energy expert Lisa O'Neill.
Like I talk a lot about energy plumbing, and it's like you've got blockages and you've got leaks.
Ooh,
and there's so many leaks.
Break this down for me. I love this analogy.
So there's lots of leaks, like things that leak energy are shit you're worried about that you can't control. Like just lying awake at night going, oh no, but what if and what if not? And it's literally such a waste of energy. And it's that mental browser that's always like people who overthink.
Oh my God, I feel like you're talking
That it's going
straight to my
over
soul.
and over and over the same thing. And it's just boring and it doesn't help.
Catch you next time. Thank you so much for listening. Please remember to like, follow, subscribe, do all of the stuff that means that my boss will not go, make sure you tell them to like, follow and subscribe. That's how more people will find out about the podcast. Catch you next week. Love ya.